Thank you. From the perspective of like wholeness moving in itself and Satchitananda and this idea of being all there is, or consciousness being all there is. What is consciousness or being fascination with destruction? And I ask this question because to me it would seem if bliss consciousness or wholeness moving in itself is all there is, then why would it choose in its infinite intelligence to have destruction have a utility in this reality?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of all this destruction, all this chaos, if nature is just looking to know itself from a unique perspective and point in space and time? Like, is this utility of destruction and of chaos just some reasoning within nature to understand itself from or experience itself from that perspective? Like, why isn't ideal administration infinitely sustaining and self-sustaining at every point in space and time?
Yeah, I don't know if I can satisfy you, but I can think of a couple things to say. One is that it's the nature of infinite consciousness that it contains all possibilities. And that means what we consider positive, and it must consider what we consider negative. Now, from one perspective, it never happened. From the perspective of Brahman, when you reach Brahman consciousness, you realize there never was diversity. There is no diversity. It's nothing but wholeness, oneness, unity. So from that perspective, it's kind of like in the Bhagavad Gita where Maharishi makes, or where Lord Krishna makes the point that from the enlightened perspective, there is no problem. From the other thing is, I mean, negativity, and this is a point Raja Ram made in his books that's really important to always remember, is that negativity in balance is our greatest friend, because you have to destroy the old state in order to create the new state. And it's only when it gets out of balance that it starts becoming this oppressive, horrible situation where people hate other people and go to war with other people and don't like other people for this reason or that reason because they have the wrong religion according to them and all of that. That comes from imbalance. Um, but negativity isn't uh, is fundamentally meant just to destroy the old state so that the new one can come along, so that the higher state of consciousness can come along. There was something else that I was remembering that Maharishi had said, and it escaped my mind while I was talking. Just one last thing on all of that. I'll have to see if it comes back. Oh, yes, I know what it was. Uh, Maybe this isn't relevant, but in one lecture I heard, Maharishi said, somebody asked Maharishi, well, what is the fundamental reason that it all happened? Why isn't it just a sea of consciousness and that's the reality and there's nothing else? Why did unity become diversity, even though it never becomes diversity? But why did it appear to become diversity? And he said the fundamental reason is because consciousness is wakefulness. And because it's wakefulness, it's awake to itself, and then all of the different mechanics of the unfoldment of unity into diversity takes place. But it's fundamentally because it's wakefulness, and then everything else comes out of that.
Thank
I
you.
I I I don't think anybody knows what the real answer to your question, though.
Oh yes, it's satisfying. And the discussion about it, I guess more so because, I keep grappling with this idea of like consciousness and the idea of singularity even having being unbalanced. Like that's not possible, right? But from the perspective of a human consciousness looking or trying to articulate what's going on, then we can use words like unbalance and destruction
Yeah,
and chaos. But like when we're speaking about this with everything that's going on in the world, we can't say from where we are to someone that's actually suffering in the moment, well, it's not really happening.
No, that's right. No, you're
You know what I
absolutely right.
mean?
Absolutely.
But I
Absolutely.
guess I still get your point because I
Yeah.
guess, as we say, Brahm only knows Brahm. So
Yeah.
I won't be able to get a real answer to that question. And at the same time, it just seems, when people blame or say God or God is love, and you think all these questions, but how can this infinite love or this infinite bliss from this human perspective ever justify what's happening here?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
You know?
It's like karma. You can't say to somebody, that's your karma. You know,
Yeah.
you just can't do it. I mean, you can't even think that way, you know. It's not a kind way of thinking. Yeah, I've never seen an answer that really satisfies. I see the same thing, you know, you see on like Instagram or something, and people are talking about why they're atheists, and they say, "How possibly could an all-loving, almighty God, you know, have created such a situation?" And it's hard to answer, you know, it just is. I don't have a good answer to the question at all.